an outstanding legislator who's going to be moving on to become the newest county commissioner in Bucks County. So I'm asking everybody to please take your seats. If any guests need to step off right now, now's the time to do so. Now's the time to do so. If any of the guests in the back need to step off, now's the time to do so. All members, please take your seats. I'm calling up Chairman Gene DiGirolamo. Gene DiGirolamo for some remarks. So I'm going to keep the doors of the House closed. If any members need to come on the floor, please bring them on. But I am going to ask everybody to take a seat. This outstanding legislator is serving in his 13th term. He has been a member of the distinguished Pennsylvania House of Representatives since 1995. Serving Bensalem community of Bucks County. He is serving also in his 5th term as chair of the House Human Services Committee. Is also presently a member of the House Consumer Affairs Committee. And the good chair began his public service career in 1990 when he was elected as Bensalem Township's auditor. Gene, I turn the rostrum over to you. You are well beloved in this chamber, past members and present, past staff and present. The floor is yours.
Good morning, I guess. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Might I be recognized to make a motion?
Yeah.
The Speaker said yes, so I mean, I guess I can make this morning, my good friend Marcy Topol presented me with this present. It says, Gene DiGirolamo, I survived the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. And I think there's some other shirts going around that says, I survived Gene DiGirolamo while serving in the House of Representatives. You know, you sit down on the floor for 25 years like I did, and I don't know how many farewell speeches I listened to. I'm just thinking maybe 200 or maybe a few more than that. And every time you hear a farewell speech, I know I did anyway, I said to myself, someday that's going to be me giving my farewell speech. Well, that someday is here. And if you ask me how I feel, I mean, you know, certainly a little sadness, because I just absolutely love this job. And whenever anybody asks me how you doing, I would always say never better, because I always thought being a state representative here in Pennsylvania was the best job that you could possibly have. Even during the hard times, the trying times, the frustrations, whatever it took, I just thought this was the best job you could ever have. And I've been very blessed in my life. I really have. When I was going through school, I grew up on my grandfather's farm. All I ever wanted to be was a farmer. I couldn't wait to get home from school, threw the books on the table, and get out and work on the farm. So when I graduated high school, that's what I did. I went to work on my grandfather's farm, and I took over the business. And I was there for 25 years on the farm. And the farming where we were in Lower Bucks was coming to an end. I had 4 small children. I had to find something else to do. So the seat became open, and I decided to try for it. I mean, I don't think anybody thought I could win. I mean, I don't even know if I thought I could win. And, you know, 3-way primary, tough general election, but that first election I was successful. I went on, knocked on doors every day, thousands of doors, and I was successful. So here I am 25 years later. And, you know, and I remember I had never been to Harrisburg until I won the election. I mean, I won the election and came up here to Harrisburg, and I walked in the building and I said, oh my God, what did I get myself into? And I got literally off the turnip truck of the farm into the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. And I've been very blessed along the way because I've just had an amazing, extraordinary group of people help me along the way. And they're here today, and I want to recognize them and introduce them, and I might ask is when I call their names that they might stand. First, 2 young ladies, Marcy Piankowski and Pam Huss. Marcy has been with me 25 years. Pam almost as long. Please stand up, and the 2 of you stand up. Please remain standing, and I tell everybody that when I'm not in the office, Marcy and Pam are in charge. And when I'm in the office, Marcy and Pam are still in charge. With my committee, there's a young lady who just retired, and two young ladies, Liz Yarnell and Melanie Brown. Both of them had been with me a long time on my committee as executive director and assistant executive director. 2 people that have been with me almost a whole 25 years in the communications department. Tracy Polovnik and Jen Keaton, please stand up. I have my present staff with me from the Human Services Committee, the executive director, Erin Robb. Emily and Tori also, please stand up. Thank you. And one other young lady that I met when I first came up here for 25 years, she's not a member of the House, but she has been a confidant and a friend and just a worth of knowledge, especially when it comes to drug and alcohol issues. And a lot of you know her, and that's Deb Beck. Please, Deb, stand up. And I just want to let you know, Jen, stand up, Mels, please stand. I just want to let you know, each and every one of you, Tracy, Jen, I just want to let you know, each and every one of you, that I love you all dearly. I love you all dearly. These are not staff people. These are not secretaries. They become part of my family. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you all very much for being here. Let's give them all a round of applause. Thank you. Also with me today is Marcy's husband, Mike. My senator, Senator Tommy Tomlinson, who was a former member of the House. Tommy. And also 2 people that back in the district. Ryan's with me, that's Senator Tomlinson's chief of staff, and also Frankie Curran, who's with me, who works in my district office. So again, thank all of you for all your hard work. I just want to make a couple observations. And first, to the members on both sides of the aisle, the rank and file members, the best advice I ever got was when I first came up here was from the speaker, Matt Ryan. And he told me, with a bunch of other new freshmen, that when you're up here in Harrisburg and you're making decisions and you're putting up votes, and a lot of them will be tough, balance 3 things: your conscience, your constituents, and your caucus. And I've tried to do that. And I know I've been somewhat of a pain in the neck occasionally to the members of my caucus, once in a while, right, Mike? Not very often. Once in a while. But, you know, I always thought your conscience was the most important thing. What you think is right and wrong and what you believe in when you're balancing that. And second, your constituents should count as well, because your constituents send you here to Harrisburg. The people in Harrisburg don't send you back to the district. And as far as the caucus go, I think it's important you have to respect your leadership on both sides of the aisle. You elect them. They've got an extremely difficult job. But remember what's important back home, because we're all human. We all want to get reelected. So remember your constituents back home and how they would want you to vote. For the good of the House, and I'm going to finish up with this, just a couple of observations. You might agree with me or you might not. I got elected in '94. I'm the last Republican. I think there's 4 Democrats that are still here from my class of '94. When I came in, the Democrats were actually in the majority, 102, 101. I see my friend Frank Dermody, he was here, he remembers that. And what happened between the election and swearing-in day is that a Democrat switched to Republican. His name was Tom Stitch, that gave the Republicans the majority, 102, 101. Well, you should have seen that battle on the House floor on swearing-in day when Bill DeWeese had to go from Speaker of the House to Minority Leader. I can tell you we were here for a long time. But the point is, you know, the Republicans were in the majority, then the Democrats came in the majority, then the Republicans came back in the majority, then the Democrats came back in the majority, and now the Republicans are in the majority again. So I think if you're here long enough, this is going to switch back and forth along those lines. And you've heard me say this before, maybe many times. Compromise is not a bad word. Compromise is not a bad word. And I found through my 25 years, especially when we're working on big issues, that no matter who's in the majority, that if you work with the other side, and again, especially on big issues, you're going to get a better piece of legislation for the 12 million people that are here in Pennsylvania. Everybody might not be happy, but it's going to be a good piece of legislation. And to that extent, 2 points, and I'm going to leave you with this, 2 points that I think you might not agree with, but I think is important. Redistricting reform. I think we need to find a way to take the political process out of redistricting. Who's in the majority? Who's in the governor? What's the makeup of the Supreme Court? And when you throw all these things together, no matter who it is, the temptation is there for both sides, minority and majority, to work together to try to draw these state lines for the House and the Senate so that they are protective of the Republican side and, again, protective of the Democratic side. And you know what happens, my friends, when that occurs? You're more afraid of somebody running against you in the primary than you are against somebody running against you in the general election, because your district is safe Republican and safe Democrat. And that makes you less likely to want to compromise because of that fear of somebody running against you in the primary. And the second point, the money that's flowing into these campaigns. It is just outrageous. We're going to kill one another. You wait till 2020 and this year. We're really going to battle back and forth. We really are. You wait. And You know, the worst part of it, I think, and maybe it's not our fault, maybe more the federal government, although we ought to look for a way to correct it, are these 501c12345s, these independent expenditure groups that are out there. I'm not blaming one side or the other. It's bad on both sides. They donate tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars to these groups, and you don't know who the people are that are donating the money. They're shielded. And that's just not right. That's just not right that that occurs. And again, we ought to try to find a way to correct it. I'm not smart enough to try to figure that out. But these independent expenditure groups, they're not allowed to coordinate with the campaign, right? Well, I don't know who's enforcing that, but they must be doing a pretty good job because nobody's ever been caught doing it, right? So they must be doing a really good job of doing it. So anyway, that's just my couple points, and you know, I'm just going to close with this. I have some friends up in the gallery, and I want to thank them for being there. Really, really good friends, and two people that are up here that I want to give a shout out to, and that's our Chief Clerk Dave Radcliffe and our parliamentarian Clancy Myers. I mean, the both of them just do a terrific job for both sides of the aisles, Democrats and Republicans, and I want to thank you for your friendship and for the good work that you do. So with that, I'm not going to say goodbye. You know, I think I really have at least one more election left in me, maybe more. So maybe in the very near future, I might be up here working with you again at some point in time. So again, thank you for your friendship. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and let's get back to work. We got work to do.
Stay here for a few words. Gene, stay right here. Chairman Gene DiGirolamo, this good gentleman has a wide variety of public policy accomplishments as part of his legacy. A longtime advocate, raising awareness, not just of the existence of drug and alcohol addiction, but pointedly trying to find ways that allow prevention to occur, treatment to occur, rehabilitation to occur, to get people better and to get others to just say no and to never try. This good man advocated for the Department of Drug and Alcohol Programs to oversee the efforts on behalf of Pennsylvania. Legislation upon legislation. Act 148 of 2012 comes to mind, where we created methadone death and incident review teams. He's been out front fighting this scourge of fentanyl. On other fronts, he has so ably served, and this is important to Pennsylvania citizens, on the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic Association's Oversight Committee. He also served on our Election Reform Task Force. He has been outstanding as the chair of Human Services. Gene, you've always had a big heart, a thoughtful and strategic mind, and you've always advocated in the areas where you thought you could make the best difference for every citizen of Pennsylvania. Thank you for your service. We know you're going to do great things as a county commissioner, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you visit us regularly. Thank you, Mr. Chair.